1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. A, B, C. That's how easy love can be. Welcome to this week's edition of the Weekly Travel Alert. I'm Steve Glenn.
I'm Paul Glenn.
Hey, we're having fun here. You know, this is an edition we do every week. We do a podcast following the Weekly Travel Alert. Paul, we've been sending out the Weekly Travel Alert via email for over 30 years now. We have 100,000 readers that it goes to, and we get to take that every week and then put it in a podcast form. We've been working at Executive Travel for now, 38 years? Is that where we're at?
That's how long we've been here,
Yeah.
Doing this fun game we call travel.
That's right. And this week we've got a really cool list. I put together, travel sometimes is painful.
Sometimes very painful.
And so I said, why don't I put together a list of all the things the little things that bring me joy when I'm traveling. And these aren't fancy things. These aren't expensive things. These are just the little things when you step off the plane. It's like, yes.
When's the last time we did something that was the fun stuff of travel? It's usually the pet peeves and those types of things.
Yeah, I do my pet peeves
your
for the
hotel
hotels.
Pet peeves is always a good one.
Hotel and airline pet peeves. But now I'm doing... Here's my annual list of 23 simple little things that bring me great joy when traveling.
You gotta sing "Joy to the World" or something
yeah,
to go with this one. Yeah, a little Three Dog Night action.
3 Dog Night, I'll tell you. Well, anyway, we're gonna go through these lickety split because 23 is quite a few, but they're fun to talk about. All right, let's get ready to rumble.
All right, let's do this.
Number 1. Finding enough room in the overhead bin for my carry-on. That's all I want is to take my carry-on, stick it in the bin, and sit down.
Above your seat.
Above my seat.
Not
back.
8 rows behind to make it so that you've got to stand and wait or you've got to ask somebody to bring it. When you've got that space right above your seat, that is one of the greatest joys I think anybody can get.
Absolutely. Number 2 on this week's list of the simple little things that bring me great joy when I travel. Having my arrival flight parked right next to the gate of my departing connecting flight.
There's something to, you're delayed. You're flying into an airport, you don't know what gate you're going to come into, especially when you've got delays. And then when they pull up and you're within a gate or two, the relief that comes over you to know that you're not going to have to run, you're not going to miss your flight, that is a great joy that comes from that.
Now,
as well.
I use the United app a lot, and sometimes I'll come into F16 and I go out of C23.
That's the norm, yeah.
That's like a 30-minute
That's as far
run.
away as you can be.
Number 3 on this week's edition of the Weekly Traveler, finding a restroom within 50 yards of my arrival flight. All I want is a friendly little men's sign right there so we can deal with being on a plane for 3 hours.
But you've hit on this, or we've hit on this on other podcasts. You got to find a restroom that's large enough that actually has availability.
That's
Because
right.
you get into a lot of these airports and those restrooms are not prepared for the quantity of people.
No, they aren't. Number 4 on this week's list, looking at my airline app and seeing I am number 1 on the first class upgrade list and there is 1 seat available. Man, it's like Christmas.
I've given up on that because I had that last week, 2 hours before the flight.
Oh, no.
And sure enough, I'm still
Some
sitting at
schmuck
number 1 on the
got it.
list.
Yeah.
Somebody bought that last seat.
All right, number 5 on little things that bring great joy when I travel. Enjoying a friendly flight attendant who greets you with a welcome and a big smile. Where is all the friendly flight attendants? Did they all retire? I just want somebody to say, hi, we like you, welcome, and how can I help you?
And thank you.
And thank you.
And thank you for flying with us. Yeah. I think it is. It's one where it's sad almost that's not the norm anymore because, 20 years ago, it was a very pleasant experience, and I think they thrive to do that. And it still is, I think, when you're traveling internationally, especially on some of the non-U.S. carriers. But, that is something that really can make that experience that much better. Just somebody, that friendly greeting.
Number 6, flights that arrive on time so you don't have to run through the airport to catch your connecting flights. They've scheduled all these flights so tightly together that you can arrive, and if your flight's 15 minutes late and you're on a 50-minute connection and you're in the C gate going to the F gate, you're like on a dead run, and that's no fun.
No, it's not fun.
So, number 7 is one of my favorites. Biscoff cookies and Stroop waffles on the flights, man. Those two things take my sweet tooth and just make life.
You haven't grasped those chocolate crisp things that they now have? I'm not a big fan of any
they're
of
not
them
sweet
anymore.
enough.
They're not.
They need a little more sugar. Okay, number 8 on this week's. Clean restrooms in airports and on planes. It's amazing how just a simple clean restroom on the plane and when you arrive at the airport, it's just nice. There's just a comfort feeling because they don't clean them all the time.
How about one you can actually stand fully upright in?
Oh yeah.
I mean that's
in
in the
airplane.
airplane. Yeah. I mean that's traveling on some of those. I think Turkish Air. They've got their planes. Not only can you stand upright, but they've actually got windows on some of those, so you can see what's going on.
How about the Emirates 380 going to?
I don't have that experience.
Has a shower in it. Now that's what we're talking. Now we're talking. I'll pay for that. All right, number 9 is Uber rides that arrive in 5 minutes or less. How many times have you been in an airport? Pony up for an Uber
supposed to be 2 minutes away.
Yeah.
And you're standing out there for 12.
Yeah, or 20.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's number 9 on this week's list. We've put together 23 little things that bring me great joy when traveling. Number 10 is no lines at the Auntie Annie's pretzel store. Huh? Now that is heaven. Okay.
There's no line if you're just going for the smells. So that's all I need from Auntie Annie's. I can do it. I can do it without the calories that way.
You're on a diet. Hey, number 11, getting a shoe shine at the Denver airport. That is the best shoe shine shop in the world. They scrub your shoes. They put a fire on it.
They flame it.
Yep. They flame it.
Just last week I did that with my boots.
Your boots, man.
And they went from, it had been a couple months since I'd flown through Denver. They're blinding when you come out of that place. So that is something that it's worth. And the thing is with that in Denver, they don't have pricing. They're brilliant because it's a 10 maybe 12 minute shoe shine, and they do an amazing job. But they do it and they charge you what you feel that the value was. And so for me, I'm not going to want to short the guy, so I'm tossing him a 20 every time. And I don't know if I am short. I guess I don't know what the standards are, but they always say come back next time. So that's how I interpret it. If they're telling me to come back, that means I must be treating them okay.
Hey, number 12 with something that's a simple little thing that brings me great joy when traveling, finding an earlier flight home so I can enjoy a great night of sleep in my own bed. So when you schedule for that last flight that leaves Chicago maybe at 9 o'clock, gets in at 11 o'clock into Omaha, and you can find that 5 o'clock flight, gets you to Omaha at 6:30, and you're at home by 8, where you can get a full night's rest in your own bed. Man, isn't that amazing how something as little as that can bring a road warrior just joy?
Yeah, no, that is one of the best things you can get, for sure.
Okay, number 13, finding an electric plug to charge my phone on an airplane and at an airport. But on an airplane is what I really need.
And what I would suggest, and maybe this is a gift we can get you at some point, is one of those travel chargers.
Yeah, I need that.
Because I'm a security guy. So one of the things I'm always looking at is how do I not have to plug something in where there could be any way or form that somebody could hack into anything. So having that so you can charge and know exactly what you're plugging your data into is something that I go for. But having that's the challenge. Is they always say, there are outlets at each seat, but you've got 2 outlets between the 3 seats in front of you, and you've got 3 people sitting there. So I always take the charger just so it doesn't matter if the other 2 people need it. They've got it, and I'm good to go anyway.
Do you ever get those plug-ins that are so loose
fall right out.
that you push them in and then it falls out, and you can't keep them in? Anyway.
I think that's the majority anymore.
Okay, number 14 of the simple little things that bring us great joy when we travel reads, finding a hotel bed with a soft mattress that gets me 8 hours of sleep. Something like a heavenly bed at a Westin.
Yep.
I mean, it's almost like I would just pay to sleep in that bed.
Is it the bed or is it the pillows? Or is it the combination?
I think it must be both. They call it the heavenly bed.
For me, it's the pillows.
Really?
I'll tell you a secret. Last week when I'm flying to a meeting in New Orleans and we landed at 3, I went up to the bed. And I was exhausted. I had to get up and leave my house at 3 a.m. to catch the flight. I went and laid down on that bed, and I slept for 2 hours. And it was all the pillows.
Oh, that's cool.
Got me that nap. So I'm a pillow guy.
Okay, number 15. This is so simple, it's silly. Hotels with 2-ply toilet paper. I'm just kidding there. Okay, number 16. Finding a cafe where the locals eat and drink. You know, you go into these hotels and it's all the travelers, it's all the visitors. I want the local Joe that goes in for pancakes and a hamburger and just the local stuff and local food. I want it greasy and I want it local.
Well, that's that experience. There's a reason why there are TV shows that travel the country just looking for those diners, drives, and whatever. But yeah, that's the experience you want. Get that local flair.
Here's something I really enjoy, number 17. Receiving great personal service and thanking them with a personal thank you, as well as give them a big, generous tip. You know, there's nothing better than saying thank you for great service and then realizing they're on the clock, they're making hourly wages. We need to be gracious with that. When they give great service, let's give them a great tip.
And there's something else that can come from that. And going back to the last one regarding, you know, your experience in getting that local culture, you treat them well. And then you also ask them, you know, what would you do if you were me? Where do you spend your time? So get those insights from them of what that local experience would be from their perspective.
Number 18, looking out the window of an airplane for the 10,000th time and feeling like a kid flying for the first time, because there's something amazing about flying, and it's hard to explain. And I'm on a Boeing 777 or an Airbus 380, and I'm going, how can 100 tons fly? How can this airplane fly? And I feel like an 8-year-old kid again.
I think it's just a disease that we must have to be in this industry, especially for as long as we have been. Because even just sitting at an airport, the only entertainment I need is to be able to look out the window and watch the movement, the orchestration of everything that goes on in these places. That, you know, we get to deal with people when they're going through the challenges when everything goes wrong. But when you're sitting there and just watching the magic of the coordination of hundreds of airplanes taking off, landing, moving from gate to gate, you know, they're moving the monster jumbo jets from the international terminals over to the main terminals for their next departure. You know, it's just so cool to watch all the moving parts. So you know, I think it is something that it's just in the blood, and it's like magic.
Number 19, seeing that my luggage is the first one to come out on the luggage carousel after my flight. Now, I normally don't.
I was going to say, luggage, wait a minute, you don't check bags.
Every 5 years that I do, seeing that come off first at the luggage carousel is like, yippee!
Or, in your case of a carry-on, if you have to gate check it, having it be that first one that comes off. You know, there's something.
That's probably more likely.
Then you're moving on to your next gate. So,
all right, here we go. Number 20, seeing no one ahead of me in the TSA pre-check security line. It's so fun when you walk up to that and you see this long line of 100 people waiting to get through security.
The standard security line.
Yeah, standard. And then you see your TSA pre-check line and there's nobody there. It's like, hallelujah.
Oh, there's nothing like getting through that line. The other one is clear.
Yeah.
And I think that, and the thing that I've found here recently is, you know, sometimes the TSA pre-check is actually shorter than the clear line. Or in New Orleans last week, they had a clear line, then they had a clear TSA pre-check line. So they actually separated them out. So, you know, always look to see if you've got multiple of those things to help you get expedited through there. Some of these airports are now making it so that you've got multiple options.
Hey, we're having fun here talking about the 23 simple little things that bring me great joy when traveling. Number 21. This one's cool. Having an empty middle seat next to me on a flight. So you got 3 seats, right? A, B, C. If I have C, aisle, and there's somebody in A, if nobody sits in B, I'm like European first class, right?
There you go.
There we go. So that's a lot of fun. Hey, number 22, seeing the parking shuttle pull up to the curb just as I walk out of the terminal.
When does that happen? Tell me the last time that happened.
Actually, it's happened once or twice, but the point is,
in the last 10 years?
Yeah, it has. So
Not in Omaha.
It brings me joy.
Not in
Okay.
Omaha.
Okay, number 23. This is the last of our 23 things that bring us a little bit of joy when we travel. And it's amazing how these really don't cost anything. They're just things that make life easy.
Little things that go a long way.
They do. When the guy sitting in front of me does not try to recline his seat into my chest, you're sitting in that coach seat and the guy in front of you has to try the button, the recline button. Whoop, he gets back into you. If that doesn't happen, it makes the trip just a little bit nicer.
And we hit on that one many episodes ago when we did some travel etiquette regarding, the proper way, if you're going to recline, is to make sure that the person behind you is comfortable with that. Because for bigger guys like us, my knee's already in your backs. So, making sure that there's not going to be some of that. The other one that I've seen a lot lately is, you get the people that have long hair and they put their hair over the back of their chair, so somebody else's hair is hanging over the back of the chair in front of you.
If I had scissors, I would deal with that.
That's that, or
Snurdly.
Or the other one's the guy that takes his shoes off and has his barefoot feet up on your armrest. So there are lots of negatives that can come. So be appreciative of the things like this that make it so you're not dealing with those others.
Hey, we've had a lot of fun today. We're at executivetravel.com. And if you have things that you want to share with us, you can always send those to info@executivetravel.com. We'd be happy to read through those, and we'd love to hear what you have.
Episode, yeah.
Yeah, and have it added to one of our future episodes. I'm Steve Glenn, the chairman of Executive Travel.
I'm Paul Glenn. Please like, subscribe, share, and add any comments or feedback on topics for future episodes. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.